Oh, what's going on, guys? I'm Tristan.
And I'm Adrian, and we are Utmost Hip Hop.
Today, we're going to be ranking all of Eminem's full-length albums, starting with Infinite.
Let's get started.
What's cracking, guys? Well, here's my list right here.
See what you got.
Starting with, so you guys can see it right there. So what are your initial thoughts of it?
Okay, so we got Marshall Mathers is number 1. Slim Shady, Recovery. What is this?
The Eminem Show.
The Eminem Show, the Marshall Mathers LP2, Infinite, Relapse, Revival, and Encore. I'd probably switch things around.
Well, let's see your list.
And here's mine. Take a look at that. Pause if you want to. Take it all in, especially number 3. Yep.
You're joking.
No. Revival. So I got Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP2, which I want to say I actually just heard that album. I've never heard the full album, and I just recently heard the full album. Revival, number 3. I'm not going to apologize for that. Marshall Mathers LP, Infinite, Recovery. Okay, 6 and down is all Recovery, Relapse, Encore, Marshall. That's all.
The Eminem Show is the worst album.
The last 4 are the worst album. I have no...
The Eminem Show is...
You know what? If it makes you happy... There you go. So you can sleep better at night. And then we're going to put Recovery down here. Whatever. This is my new list. It doesn't matter because... Let me tell you something right now. These last 6, 7, 8, and 9, these are garbage albums. Those are all garbage albums.
Well, here's the final product. The Eminem Show, for Adrian's list, he has it at 6. 7 goes Relapse, 8 Recovery, and Encore being the last at number 9.
Let me bring it up so you guys can see. This is what we got.
Hitting the microphone, please.
Yeah, I hit the microphone there if you guys heard that.
So let's start at number 1. Why do you feel that the Slim Shady LP is better than a classic, the Marshall Mathers LP?
I think the Slim Shady is more of a classic than the Marshall Mathers. Obviously, it's the one that came out first, besides Infinite.
But, I mean, when we're comparing it to songs like Stan, The Real Slim Shady, Criminal, how can you say, what kind of songs is there on the Slim Shady LP, which I also think is a great album. As you see, it's my number 2.
I'm not saying that the Marshall Mathers LP was not a great album. I like the Slim Shady better. I think it just had more tracks on it that were better. I think the Marshall Mathers LP had more throwaway tracks, if you want to call them that.
Name a few.
I'm not going to name. I'm not. Oh, okay. I would like to start off by saying I'm not. This guy over here, he's more of a Eminem connoisseur than I am, I guess.
If you need some help, here's the list right here. I mean, we have Kill You, we have Stan, for crying out loud.
Stan obviously is a great album.
We have Kim.
Song. Kim is a great song.
Kim is amazing. We have The Real Slim Shady.
Right, okay, great song. There's no doubt that there's great songs on there.
Criminals
because I'm a criminal. There's great songs.
No, I'll tell you why I think the Marshall Mathers LP is the best one is just because I think it's the height of his Slim Shady persona, the height of his offensiveness. It's the most offensive album.
I feel like Slim Shady LP was Slim Shady. Was all Slim Shady. I feel like Marshall Mathers was half Slim Shady and half Eminem.
I mean,
that's what I feel.
I see how you're trying to segregate them.
I'm not trying to segregate.
Well, no, you're not wrong. Saying Slim Shady is the persona of this crazy homophobe.
I'm saying I like Slim Shady as a rapper better than I like Eminem. If you want to like separate it that way, I think when he is Slim Shady, when he's rapping as Slim Shady, I believe he raps differently as Slim Shady, and when he's doing that, he's better.
When he's rapping as Slim Shady in this album, though, it's the height is right here. He's the most offensive. He's the most, I don't care what anybody thinks.
And
Middle finger up to everybody. I mean, you have like songs like Criminal.
That's the best of him that's when he's at his best. Yes, I agree, but I feel like he does that more.
What about Kill You? Like when he says, I don't even believe in breathing. I'm leaving air in your lungs just to hear you screaming for me to seep it. What about Kim? The whole song Kim.
Okay, that's fine.
It's
great songs, great bars in there. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying Slim Shady
just
LP,
the Slim Shady that everybody loves is the most intense in the Marshall Mathers LP.
The Slim Shady LP is when he was introduced to the world. I think it's the best album. I think that's what if you look at Infinite, very similar to this, even though I did not put it very high on the list. I put it at number 6. Very similar to this.
You put it at number 5. I put it at number 6.
I put it, okay, wrong list. I put it at number 5, 6, doesn't matter. But I put it at number 5 when he came out with a Slim Shady EP, which is very similar to Slim Shady LP.
Well, the same tracks too.
Same tracks. That was
If I Had was on there, and just a few others.
Yeah,
Bonnie and Clyde was also on there.
Bonnie and Clyde. That was Slim Shady. That's what Dr. Dre listened to, and that's when he decided, hey, I want to do something with this guy.
Well, let's move on to the most recent one with Revival. Why do you have it all the way up at 3? I mean, I have mine at 8, just above Encore.
Revival.
Like, how can you defend that as better than the Marshall Mathers LP?
I know a lot of people out there on the internet are not liking Revival. I like Revival. I think he's very creative in Revival. He's far more creative than obviously Encore, Recovery, Relapse, and I would even say Infinite. Maybe this. Let's see. I would say than most his albums, far more creative. Probably than Slim Shady LP was very creative. Marshall Mathers LP. I also
the
thought
second
was very
Marshall
creative.
Mathers LP.
The second
I
one.
think is probably his most creative album. How it was put together, having Bad Guy as a sequel to Stan, slowly foreshadowing through the song.
I think it was very creative, but I just feel like on Revival, he's switching it up. He's doing something different, and I don't understand why people are hating on him for that, for going outside his comfort zone. I feel like he brought Slim Shady back. Especially on the song, was it Framed?
Framed, that was a good song.
Great song. That
was my favorite song off the track.
Mine too.
Off
That
the
was
album.
Slim Shady all the way. He's being creative. He's being different. He's bringing us something that we have not seen in him before. Production on that album is not the greatest. I would say with some of the instrumentals on that, also not the greatest, but what he's trying to do, the direction that he's going in on Revival, I would like to see more of that. I would like to see him get more creative, go more outside his comfort zone, try something different, and that's why I picked it as number 3.
Well, when I listen to a new Eminem album as of recent years, I don't like to compare it to his first 3, the Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, or the Eminem Show.
You can't even compare Revival to anything.
No, they're not the same. I like to listen to it as if this is like an original artist just came out. This is the album he put out, his first album. Do I like it? That's what I think. And that's immediately what I thought when I listened to Recovery, and that's why I have it as number 3. It's not as, old, offensive, Eminem, homophobic, or any that's, it's not as obviously present, but there's more of an attitude to it. There's more of a...
Which one? Revival?
Recovery. Recovery. Like the first song, Cold Wind Blows, is a total banger.
It's all right. I mean, I just feel like besides Slim Shady LP, Marshall Mathers LP, I'm gonna put Revival in there, and the Marshall Mathers LP2, and also Infinite. I think all the other albums, especially Relapse, Recovery, Encore, which throw Encore in there too, just disappointment, just a big disappointment. I think those albums were very dry. I can see what he was trying to do. I feel like he was trying to bring us who he is now. Obviously, he's changed as a person from when he first started. He has a different life now. He's a different person. And he was trying to let us inside the head of Marshall Mathers. But it just came off really dry and boring, all those albums.
How do you feel about Relapse? 'Cause I know you have it pretty low. I mean, we both have it at 7.
Yeah, it's boring. Relapse was boring. Recovery was also boring.
I think the better word for it is just annoying. I mean, I think the height of its just total garbage was 3 a.m.
It felt to me like he wasn't trying. Either he wasn't trying, or he didn't have anything to write about. As far as lyrics, he didn't have anything going on in his life.
It's funny you mention that,
him,
because that's exactly how I feel about Revival. I feel like I'm at a point, and a lot of old stands are at a point where they just don't care what Eminem has to say anymore, and nothing interests us anymore.
I just feel like as an artist, as someone being creative, I think he's going.
So creativity in terms of following a girl in the song Heat, pretending to be a store clerk, mopping the floors to stalk her, to check her out.
It's hilarious.
I mean, it's funny, but that doesn't make it a good album or a good track on the album.
I mean, I'm talking about the album as a whole, as far as him trying different styles, going a different approach. I feel like he tried to modernize some of his flow, which I can understand. I usually do not like that when artists do that, when they try to go with the trends. I feel like he kind of tried to go with the trends on a few tracks there, but at the same time, he went outside his comfort zone. He's doing something different. He's exploring his capabilities as a rapper. As
one thing from going through and listening to all of the albums at one time, one thing I did notice though is when Eminem did his hooks, he always did the choruses. They were never good. From his first album all the way to the end, they always sucked.
As him
on Revival or Slim Shady LP, everything in between,
as him
they sucked.
Trying to be a singer. I don't like when rappers try and sing. It doesn't matter. I don't like when rappers try and sing. I don't like auto tunes. I don't like when Eminem sings choruses. That's what R&B people are for. Pretty much someone that can sing. I like to hear someone that can sing on a hip hop track versus a rapper with auto tunes, or a rapper just trying to sing. But I mean, it doesn't. Even though I like it better, it doesn't bother me a whole lot. It's kind of humorous to me, especially when a rapper does it in a way where he's singing the chorus and he knows he's singing it bad and he just goes with it. I don't like when they auto-tune stuff. I know
he does mention that in the Eminem show on Haley's song, where he's at the end of it, he says, "I tried to sing," but I know I can't sing. He does mention that.
Yeah,
which is kind of to your point.
That's fine, and I like that he did that.
So I think personally, for me, going back to Recovery, I have maybe a little bit of a bias because that's the first album I've ever heard of Eminem. This is the album that got me into Eminem.
Okay, and the Slim Shady LP is the first album I ever heard. And actually, the thing...
Well, right, but a lot of people have it at number 1. That's not a uncommon
Right.
opinion.
Obviously, because a lot of people are smart. Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. But Love the Way You Lie was the first track I've ever heard by Eminem, and I was instantly attached. And since then, he's been my favorite artist.
When I first heard "My Name Is" off the Slim Shady LP, blew my
Great
mind.
song.
Great song.
No, great song.
It blew my mind, and then when I heard it was produced by Dr. Dre, I always been a big Dr. Dre fan. I was on board immediately. At the same time, what are you typing over there?
Huh? Nothing. I'm just taking notes.
Okay.
Judge my
When
life.
when I first started listening to Eminem when he first came out is when I started also getting really heavy into like underground hip hop. And so that's kind of what pulled me away from Eminem, I would like to say. So as far as his other albums, like I said, I haven't heard all his albums as much as you have.
Clearly, as you can see from your...
Well, okay, I've
Terrible list.
Slim Shady LP I've heard many times because it was his first album. I discovered
honestly,
after I heard the Slim Shady LP, because that was the first one I ever heard. First time I was introduced to Eminem. Then I heard Infinite, and then I started hearing like his underground stuff, and then I was listening to a lot of underground artists at that time. After the release of the Slim Shady LP, and then I would listen to a few of his albums here and there. Recovery, Relapse, Encore.
I don't even think we can debate Encore is a horrible album.
Yeah, Encore is a horrible
album. We don't even need to talk about it.
Those are all albums that, even the Marshall Mathers LP too, those are all albums that I wasn't really into. Actually,
wait, the Marshall Mathers LP too?
I went at the time of the release.
Oh, you're talking about the original Marshall Mathers LP?
No, I'm talking about the Marshall Mathers LP 2.
Oh, okay.
At the time of its release,
I think it was like 2012 or something. I was a freshman in high school when it came out.
Yeah, I was like.
I remember speaking of
when those albums came out.
You're 45.
Yeah,
you're not even 45 now.
Yes, I am.
Shut up.
I when those albums came out, I wasn't really into Eminem anymore. I always respected him. When he had a single, I would listen to a single, but I never went out and said, "Let me listen to his."
Well,
album.
I remember
I was never like, "Oh, Eminem's coming out with a new album. I gotta hear it." I was just like, "Okay, he's got a new album. I'll hear it," and I didn't. Actually, the Marshall Mathers LP, just recently I've listened to. I've never heard that album.
The second one?
The second one, the Marshall Mathers LP 2. I've never listened to that album.
I listened to it
entirety until recently, and I liked it. The reason why I have it as number 2, I don't know if that's because I've just listened to it recently, but I like it. It's fresh and new to me. Besides the singles, obviously that I heard, but everything else I didn't care for. I mean, the singles came out, I would hear it on the radio. But even the singles I didn't really care for. I just think, going back, Slim Shady LP has the most. I can listen to that whole album and I like every song on that album. I can't say the same about Marshall Mathers LP 2 only because I've only heard that album twice. At the most.
Here's some
Revival. His new album, obviously just heard recently too because it just came out. When I heard Revival, I heard bits and pieces of certain songs, and I was like, "This is Eminem. What is this? Why does he sound so weird? Why is it so different?" I thought I was gonna hate it, and then I listened to the whole album in its entirety, and I said, "Wow, he's doing something different. He's switching it up."
I feel like
it.
that's an album. If you listen to the first time, you don't really like it, but the more you listen to it, the more it grows on you. I feel like that's kind of the effect that album.
I
can
liked
have.
it. I liked it the first time I heard it,
okay.
in its entirety. Now I did hear, a couple songs here and there. I did hear pieces of songs. I felt like I didn't like it. What's the first one with Beyonce?
Walk on Water.
Walk on Water.
That was it's
When I heard that
never gonna listen to that again.
the first time,
The second song, Believe. That's
I didn't like those because those were the first ones I heard before I actually listened to the whole album. But yeah, they definitely grew on me. But when I sat down and listened to the whole album as a whole, I liked it, especially Framed. I think Framed is just straight Slim Shady.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely going back to the roots. What I was gonna say initially about the Marshall Mathers LP too. I heard it right when it came out. I was a freshman in high school. Now it's like 5 years ago.
See, I think that's what you said. The number one or number two?
I'm sorry. The Marshall Mathers LP too.
Two. That's the first one you've heard.
No, the first one I heard was Recovery. That's the first Eminem album I've ever heard.
Okay.
This is the first album I heard when it actually came out, like right after it came out, when everyone was talking about it. Oddly enough, I don't know if you know about the app iFunny.
No.
It's a comedy app. You make whatever post you want. Anyways, I had a rap-based account for it, and I would always debate people on, whatever, kind of like what we're doing here. But at first, the Marshall Mathers LP2, at least in that community, wasn't accepted widely. A lot of people really hated the album. They thought Eminem dropped off from Encore and on, that he was already dropped off. They didn't like Recovery, Relapse, outside of the Eminem Show, Slim Shady LP, and Marshall Mathers LP. They didn't really care for him. I mean, I was always there to defend him.
So wait, you saying that people like Encore?
No.
Okay,
no.
so for Encore...
Yeah, no, that's where they feel he fell off. It was like
Got
that
it.
was the one point, at least in that community at that time.
Okay.
I feel like now it's regarded as a better album than it was at the time when it first came out.
So
from always personal experience,
from what you think, what would be the majority of people? What would be their top three Eminem albums?
The Slim Shady LP, the Marshall Mathers LP, and the Eminem Show. I would say most people lean towards the Eminem Show personally. I don't see the appeal as much, even though I have the respect for it to put it a 4 and not put it under Revival.
I might put the Eminem Show a little higher up.
I mean, we're still...
Infinite is just so hard to rate. I put it at number 5. I would say...
It's a little short for me to put an accurate rating on it, I feel. That's why I decided it's 6.
I feel like everything I liked about Infinite, I think came out in the Slim Shady EP as far as his style. And then obviously a lot of tracks in the Slim Shady EP were very similar to the Slim Shady LP.
The production obviously wasn't near as well as it was in the Slim Shady LP. I did enjoy it with Backstabber was a really good song. That was my favorite. Obviously Infinite, the first track, is really good.
Classic. I think that's a classic
No,
song.
yeah. That's definitely up there.
Not classic. It's a classic song, but it's not his best song.
You know what I don't understand? In the Eminem Show, why does he still do songs with Obi Trice? I can never understand why he would continue to do songs with Obi Trice. Like the song Drips. Like, I completely tuned out of Drips when Obi Trice was doing his thing. But when Eminem came on, it was a whole new story. Like, the level's so different. He's so out of Obi Trice's league.
I feel like Obi Trice is like a puppy in the street that just followed Eminem around, followed him home. That's what I feel like. I just don't. Without Eminem, I don't know. What Obi Trice is from Detroit?
Yeah, he was.
I like D12. Matter of fact, I like Bizarre.
Yeah, he's Drake.
aka Bizarre Kid. But Obi Trice.
There's no appeal to him, and I understand if it was on the Slim Shady LP. He's just coming out. He doesn't have too many, big friends. Obviously, he has Dre. He's out with Guilty Conscious, which is a great
Yeah.
song. But at the time he was at the Eminem show, he was already
When I
at the height of his career.
First heard Obi Trice, real name, no gimmicks or whatever. When I first heard Obi Trice, I instantly knew this is not going to last. This guy is not. He's not going nowhere. It was obvious to me.
Needless to say, neither of us are a fan, and he shouldn't. He killed the song Drips in the worst way.
He shouldn't be allowed to rap anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. Just new petition. Honestly, would I have a problem more than you raising Revival to number 3, which is absurd for me and for most people, is having the Eminem show down at 6. I'm not as high on it as most people, but when you have tracks like Business, Cleaning Out My Closet, Without Me, Till I Collapse,
Without
Superman,
Me, I think
Sing for the Moment.
Superman was a garbage song. Without Me, that's right, I said it. Without Me is probably the only good song on the Eminem show.
Till I Collapse.
I could probably put the Eminem show over Infinite. Again, Infinite is so
Wait,
hard.
Till I Collapse.
Good song, but not a great song. I would say that's an average song. I just like those better.
Why don't
like
you
I
like
said,
it?
I could put the Eminem show above Infinite because Infinite is so hard to rate.
Why is Till I Collapse? Why don't you like it as much as most people do? What is it about the song?
It's not that I don't like the song.
Is it it's not as edgy as his other stuff, or that it's not?
I like angry Eminem. I like Slim Shady. That's what I like. I don't think
That's not right. Angry Eminem is more Marshall Mathers LP.
Okay, I think the Marshall
Offensive.
Mathers.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Marshall Mathers LP brought a little bit of Eminem and Slim Shady together. But I just like when he's just being raw, angry, aggressive. I don't care, Slim Shady. That's what I like. I think that's when he's at his best.
Yeah, and I would agree that I don't think it was really there on the Eminem show. That's why I don't really regard it as being as great, even though Recovery isn't like that, but there's a different kind of mood to it. I think Till I Collapse, it's on there,
Why do you have Recovery as 3? I don't know if we covered that. Did we cover?
Yeah, Recovery. Again, I might have a little bit of a bias to it, but his verse on No Love was amazing. I remember when it first came out. No Love was just perfect. Love the Way You Lie is a great song. The first song is my favorite song.
Love the Way You Lie is a decent song. I wouldn't say it's a great song.
Really?
I would say it's decent. It was very, definitely showed emotion on that song, which is what I think.
I feel like
Recovery and Relapse and Encore lacked was emotion as far as real. I think it was
going to
fake
Relapse.
emotion.
I don't think there was. Obviously, it's not a great album, but there are a couple of gems in there. Same with Encore. Deja Vu on Relapse is a really good song for me. I think the accent fit in well with it.
No, I don't like the accent.
Well, yeah, but looking past the accent.
Not a fan.
Well, no one's a fan of the accent. No one liked that. That accent was terrible. We can all agree the accent was terrible. But Deja Vu, even though the accent is really heavy there, like it is in most songs, I think it goes together with the flow. It goes together with what he's talking about in his drug.
I feel like he had a decent flow on that song, and it was a decent song, probably one of the better ones on that album,
For sure.
but not one of the better Eminem songs.
Oh, no one's saying that. I think Beautiful I would categorize as one of Eminem's better songs, personally. I really enjoy Beautiful. The accent's not really there. The accent's been wiped away with that song.
Again, for me, I think that's more of a good song, but not one of his better songs.
Well, I'm not defending Relapse as one of his better albums. Obviously, I have it down at 7. but there is some gems in there that are have replay
I don't know if I
value.
would call them gems. I think the whole album in a whole was boring, and I did not enjoy it. So I think in conclusion, we had a lot of the same. Of course, my surprise was Revival here that a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, and that is fine. Um, what I think of your list, I agree with a lot of it. Um, I definitely would not have put Recovery as high. I think that's probably the one that surprised me the most. Was how
And
high
I
you put
expected
Recovery.
that, but like 25 to Life, that's a great song. It has the angry kind of feel without angry kind of feel with it without the offensive tone to it, if you may,
Okay.
which I really enjoyed. Going Through Changes was a good song. I mean, obviously not as angry, but great song.
Okay. So let us know what you think.
We're checking out of here, guys. Peace.
See ya.